I guess I grew up like from about 6 years old, obviously, in the industry.
6 or 7, actually. I don't know the exact age.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. My bad. It was too easy. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyways, I was raised atheist, so my parents didn't believe in God, and most of their friends didn't believe in God or talk about it. You know, there's something that they used to always tell me, which is like, there's two things you don't talk to anybody about, and it's religion and politics. So I was always taught that from a young age, so you don't really talk about religion or faith. And I kind of just assumed that everybody was kind of along that same type of timing, where like anybody with a brain, anybody who could think for themselves didn't believe in God. And that's what I thought. And I had that belief up until about 18 years old. And then at 18, I came back from working on a show. It's a Netflix series called Heartland, if anybody knows that show. And I came back from working on that show, which was in another province in Canada, and I came back to my home in Toronto. And I saw my best friend at the time, and he asked me a very simple question. He just asked me, what do you believe in terms of God and religion? And this was the first time somebody ever asked me that question, which is crazy, to be honest. I was 18, just finishing up high school at that time. Actually, I think I'd already finished high school. And then, I told him what I believed at that time, which was, maybe there's a God, maybe there isn't, we don't know, we can't prove it, so I will never believe, and I'll never follow a religion. I assume they're all just fairy tales and stuff to make people feel better. But then I got home that same night, and I realized that I told him all of this stuff that I believed, but I didn't know where that belief came from. And when I started to think about why did I believe what I just told him, I realized that I only believed that because of what my parents had told me before, and what my friends and family around me were believing. And I realized that that's not a valid argument. You're basically making an argument from a point of ignorance. You don't know any other opinion, you've never looked into it, you don't know how to counter anybody else's opinion. And I didn't feel comfortable with that. If somebody of any other religion came to me, they could say the same thing as I just said and be just as right. A Christian could come to me and say, oh, I believe in Christianity because that's what my parents and family did. And somebody who was Jewish could say the same thing, and Muslim could say the same thing. And I knew and I believed there's only one truth, right? So I realized I needed to go and start looking for that truth. And that was when I decided to go on a long, journey of researching. In my room, I spent basically 8 hours a day. I was done school, so that was basically my school day, was just doing research online, watching videos, reading articles and books, and going through the major religions, going through different philosophies and theories around the existence of God. And I came out of it, to cut the story a little bit short, I came out of it believing Islam was the truth. I got to a point where I knew that Islam was the truth, and I didn't want to live another day not as a Muslim. And so I took my Shahada then and there, and that was February of 2023, and now we're, alhamdulillah, in September 2025. So, wait, is it September? October, wow. I don't have no concept.
But what's actually amazing about that, subhanAllah? Can you imagine? He didn't know anything about Islam. Locked himself in his room for how many months?
It was about four or 5 months.
4 months, researching every single day, and at the end of it, he took Shahada from a YouTube video. Not even anyone gave him da'wah. This is from Allah. Hidayah is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, mashallah, I met this brother, at the early part of his journey, after he had taken Shahada. It was about maybe 6-7 months after that. It actually was 6 or 7 months. He doesn't want to acknowledge it, but it was 6 or 7 months. And I was blown away when I learned about his background, when I learned about where he was in his career, because it's very difficult. For many of us, we don't want to change things in our lives. And we could be maybe 18 years old, 17 years old, you could be 15 years old and already be set in your ways. But mashallah, he was able to learn about Islam. He's able to, by the way, I won't ask him now, it's embarrassing, but if you hear his qira'ah, the Quran, mashallah, tabarakallah. This is somebody who's just been studying Quran for 2 years, and he already has a beautiful, command of the Arabic language and even of his recitation of the Quran. So, since that time, mashallah, the three of us have been working together. We're a trio of artists. We call ourselves the Hit Society, which stands for Hits Hassan ibn Thabit Society. And if you knew who Hassan ibn Thabit was, radiallahu anhu, he was the poet of the Prophet ﷺ. You have to know something about our deen, that art has been there from the beginning. That in fact, some people might even feel uncomfortable with us, even doing poetry or doing nasheed in the masjid. But you should know that a better poet than me sat in a better masjid than this, performing in front of better people than you. The Prophet ﷺ in Masjid Nabawi, he had a member just for the poets to come and share their beautiful recitations about the love of Islam. So art has been there from the beginning. It's been a tool that's been used to help propagate Islam, and it's a tool that we use to help preserve our cultural values. So mashallah, I don't know how much time we have left yet. I don't know if we're cutting it very tight. I know the kids are really